Hi, welcome to Brown Girl Book Lover. I'm Leslie Ann Murray, and today I have Deesha Philyaw, and we're going to be talking about her short story collection, The Secret Lives of Church Ladies. First, Deesha Philyaw debut short story collection, The Secret Life of Church Ladies, was a finalist for the 2020 National Book Award for Fiction and for the Story Prize. Hey, I love that prize. The Secret Life of Church Ladies focuses on Black women, sex, and the Black church. Her work has been listed as notable in the Best American Essay Series, and her writing on race, parenting, gender, and culture has appeared in the New York Times, the Washington Post, McSweeney's, The Rumpus, Brevity, uh, Housekeeping Magazine, and various anthologies. Welcome to Brown Girl Book Lover, Deesha.
Thank you so much, Leslie, and I'm happy to be here with you.
I'm so happy you're here. I love looking at you online, and I love seeing your success growing and growing. And so
Thank you.
it's a pleasure. Tell us a little bit about the book and how you came to write it.
So the book is actually a detour from a novel that I started writing in 2007, got about 2/3 of the way done, and just kind of hit a wall. And I know now I hit the wall because I really lost interest, but I kept trying to, force it. But in the meantime, I was writing these short stories, and my agent would, come and see me read at different events, and after she'd heard maybe 2 of them, she said, while you're kind of on hiatus from the novel, maybe these church lady stories could be something. So she picked up on that thread that at the time I wasn't really intentional about, but she saw a theme emerging. And I decided to get intentional about it because what she proposed is that if I could get 3 of the short stories published around this theme, that we could, pitch to publishers with a partial manuscript. That felt more doable to me than finish this book that I've been, dragging around, like a dinosaur tail for, over a decade, or almost a decade at that point.
In the collection, we see secrets create a sense of loneliness and displacement within these characters. Why was this important to incorporate in the theme of your stories?
So, the secrecy, the hiding, and the characters in different ways are hiding things from themselves and also from others. And I think organically that creates a kind of loneliness when you cannot be your whole self or your full self. The real you isn't the you out in the world, and so the real you is very much alone. You're alone with your truth, and that you can't live fully and proudly and comfortably. And so there's this loneliness, and side by side with this longing, a longing to be free, to get free. And so, people, these characters, when they are confined, when they're restricted, it does put them in this really lonely place. And there's so much that they're about themselves that they're not able to explore or celebrate or embrace.
Do you think that's one of the reasons why so many people are attracted to your book? Because this theme of we all feel that loneliness and displacement?
Mm-hmm. I think that there's so many themes that are relatable. There's the mother-daughter stuff, there's the loneliness, the longing, the displacement, fighting against binaries. Lots of people struggle with that. And so it's exciting and maybe hopefully affirming when you can see that a story that speaks to your sense of isolation and what you're grappling with. So I wrote this book for Black women, but I knew that people who aren't Black women could also access them as well, because these are, things that many of us experience. This idea of getting free, getting free of secrets, getting free of other people's expectations, other people's rules. All of us spend time getting free from something, hopefully, getting free of our families, and the control that they have over our lives to become, independent and fully realized. Those are things that lots of people can relate to.
When I was reading your collection, I realized that we often harbor secrets, believing if we told them, it will extricate us from society. But
Mm-hmm.
in reality, we all are sharing some of the same secrets, right?
Right, right.
And it's such a human experience, and I love that you were able to capture that in your
Mhm.
collection.
I mean, that's one of the things I had to grapple with, is part of my becoming an adult and healing as an adult, which is, if I've got these things going on, other people do too. Like, it shouldn't be such a revelation, but it is. Also, I grew up as someone who was like super self-conscious, and I had to get to the point of like thinking about how when I walk into a room, I'm not sizing everybody up. I'm just walking into the room. And then one day it was like, other people are probably not thinking about me when their minds are the same place mine is, like what's for dinner and what's whatever. And so when you realize that most people are just like you, that in and of itself can be freeing. But I think that that's one of the things that the church doesn't do well, is that it doesn't acknowledge that reality, except in the whole, we're all sinners way. And then, but if you do these things, you'll be okay, as opposed to full stop. We all have some mess with us.
You said that you wrote your book for a Black woman,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to know, why is it so important for Black women, first of all, to write your book for Black women, and for Black women to be seen and heard?
Because, their narratives have controlled how we view Black women, how Black women are viewed, and to some extent, sometimes how we view ourselves from the beginning. We know that narrative is how slavery was justified. If you can say that these people aren't people, you can justify enslaving them. If you say that these women aren't really women, you could justify raping them. And so the narrative about who we are has always been a lie, has always been distorted. And then even post-emancipation, the stories about us marginalized us. If you think about stories like The Help, or any movie that has some kind of white savior where it's about us, but somehow we're still the supporting cast, and we're still in these roles that make white people comfortable. We're not even starring in the movie of our own lives. And so I like the idea of disrupting all of that, and then telling stories from our perspective, through our gaze only. How do we see ourselves in each other? What are the things that we say when it's just us, or that we say only to ourselves? Black women aren't centered nearly enough. We're, often the caretakers and the supporting cast. But what happens when we go center stage, honestly, about what our lives are like?
Someone on my Instagram feed said they read it in one shot.
I hear people tell me, like, I get these messages like, I didn't get any work done today because I just sat here and read your book, or I didn't get any sleep last night because I stayed up reading your book. I'm like, sorry, not sorry.
But it's a perfect collection, because I was like, wait a minute, that's it. Lastly, Brown Girl Book Lover, we celebrate diverse writers and their voices in the literary world. How does our society benefit from diverse voices?
That, it goes back to the narratives. And this country was built on lies.
Mhm.
And so when you have diverse voices telling their own stories, you're correcting the historical record. You're correcting the lie at the foundation of our society. And so the diverse voices bring about that reckoning, that needs to happen, that's long overdue. It's one way. You know, there's a lot more to that reckoning around race and dismantling white supremacy, but telling our stories in our own voices is a part of that reckoning.
Two finger snips. Two.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.